are here with Josh Hackler, co-owner of Krus Kitchen, and I'm excited to ask him a few questions about the process and getting to know him a little bit better.
Hey Angel, thank you for taking the time.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm
yeah.
excited to learn a lot about you and about this beautiful place.
So I grew up in South Carolina. I'm half Albanian, actually. My mother is 100% Albanian from immigrant parents, and I grew up in South Carolina in the restaurant business. My grandparents on my mom's side had restaurants there in Myrtle Beach, and then my dad later, that was his whole professional life, was owning and operating restaurants there, and had an awesome sort of golf career as well. But grew up from essentially age zero in a restaurant environment. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
And did you work, serving or in the kitchen?
Yeah, the most vivid memory is 11 years old on a milk crate behind the line on the grill station, telling the temperature and working service. It was crazy. I had a chef jacket, and I was 11 years old.
That's really cool.
And then I did other things, serving, bussing, washing dishes. He had a pancake house at one point. I was doing the graveyard shift, washing dishes at his breakfast house. Started a little cigar business for the golfers during golfer season.
Nice.
Hustling as a 12-year-old, selling cigars to the golfers. They loved it.
So you've been an entrepreneur since back then. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
So you've kind of checked all the boxes of what they usually say about a restaurant owner, right? That you should start from the bottom, right? Like dishwasher,
for sure.
Serving, busboy, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You've kind of checked all those boxes.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty cool.
Worked in other restaurants too as a kid,
So all the ins and outs of this business.
Yeah, I mean, there's always those unknowns and untold, but yeah, I mean, I've hit a lot of different areas of a restaurant for sure.
Nice. So now, fast forward. Did you go to school for this? Like, what was that process to getting to opening this restaurant?
Yeah, I did not go to school for hospitality per se. I went to international business school at South Carolina. I had a big passion for food and wine, given just my background and family. My father took my family to France, Bordeaux, when I was 14 years old on a food and wine golf trip. And that was my first real introduction into the world of wine. And then we went to Spain, San Sebastian for a day.
Nice.
And I was just, blown away. It was an amazing experience, and I said I want to come back to Spain one day and live. And so I did. In college, went to the University of Oviedo for a year, and Asturias, and it was that was like the beginning of kind of what would be my trajectory of food and wine.
Nice. By the way, you did go to school for this, right? It's like 20 plus years.
But
since you were 8 years old, you've been going to school.
The hard knocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, streets.
Which is, in my opinion, the best school, right?
For sure. But yeah, then so Spain, was going to school there, and then started a wine company out of college.
To me, it really excites me, like hearing the growth story, right? Like, how did this become this, right? Like every restaurant or every business that we see out there came from an idea first,
for sure,
and then you put it into action. So can you tell me, like, first of all, why Coconut Grove?
Yeah.
Why the name? If you can elaborate on that.
Yeah. So when I was living in New York, and I was looking at doing some F&B projects there. Ultimately, we were looking at multiple cities as well, and I took a trip to Miami. Really had no network at all down here. Just through a few people in New York connected me to some great people here in Miami that I was able to kind of get a little bit of a lay of the land over like a 3-day period, kind of just looking at the city.
Right.
And I started looking at different neighborhoods. This was 4.5 years ago, essentially, at the time, and walking the streets of Coconut Grove and seeing what was then Coco Walk, and different areas of Miami, and really focusing on an area that had a true neighborhood feel, and I just went super deep into studying the city and kind of where I saw the best opportunity for what it is that we would ultimately bring to life. And yeah, moved down. Essentially, Miami was it. I was super excited about the opportunities that this city presented, and being able to do fun, creative concepts that we thought could bring a new voice, a new angle to the city. And yeah, was like, okay, let's go. So moved to Miami then, and my wife and I came down, and yeah, just
took action.
Yeah, took action. Worked with a couple of hospitality groups in South Florida, between Palm Beach and Miami, over like the first 2.5 years that I was here, and then got while I was working on getting our own projects going and starting the hospitality group, which we started together with my partner Sebastian Vargas and Pili Restrepo, Grass-Fed Culture Hospitality, which is our hospitality group that started Krus Kitchen, Felix, and our future initiatives.
Now you do have to tell me about the name, because there's always a story behind the name.
Yeah.
So, Felix.
Yep.
Tell me about how did that come about?
Yeah. So Felix is the idea of really femininity and the power of women. Felix is a concept inspired of Mexican roots, but with influences of all of Mesoamerica. And there was a very famous, kind of provocative, maybe even like a Marilyn Monroe type figure of Mexico City in the 50s, Maria Felix, who was an actress, and just had a huge voice. And so we love the identity around what she created and the voice that she had. Truly, Mexican cuisine is really created and built on all of the women that have turned Mexican cuisine into what it is. The grandmothers, the abuelas, all of that. So it's really an identity of that. And then yeah, so that's Felix.
And what's, thank you for sharing the story.
Yeah, no, of course.
What's your favorite thing on the menu for Felix? If you have one.
Yeah, I mean, everything's amazing. The menu is rooted in a lot of, first of all, the whole idea around the menu is corn and the masa. We're bringing in and supporting this idea of milpa agriculture, which is a dying tradition essentially in Mexico and Latin America, where these families that have been farmers for generations are holding tight to the craft, And so you have corn, you have cacao, you have chiles. We do it on the wine side as well, with focusing on natural wine, biodynamic wine, and supporting amazing growers, farmers that are in, whether it's France or Italy or wherever in the world. But it's the same idea that they're focusing on preserving the integrity of the land and practicing farming techniques that are truly sustainable. And so, and expensive at the end of the day. Right. To maintain that, but that's what we're all about. That's our identity, and so we're bringing in these amazing products into Felix, into Krus Kitchen, that are supporting this farming method, and breaking down. So with the corn, we're breaking everything down, nixtamalizing, which is the process of breaking the corn down with cacao, and essentially prepares it for the masa, which makes the tortillas. And so we are Felix Molino, which Molino is the idea of that process, and we have our own in-house molino that grinds the corn, that makes the tortillas, that makes our dishes. So yeah, I mean, anything on the menu is in some way connected to corn, and everything's just, super delicious. It's vegetable forward. We are super supportive as well of the local fishermen. So everything that, like the seafood that we put on the menu, is all hook, line, or spear caught from Jupiter Inlet down to the Keys. We only work with local fish, and so we have some really cool fish dishes on the menu. And then the other protein that we use is pork, and so it's pastured organic, like beautiful heritage breed pork. So the pork cheek carnitas, for example, is like amazing. It's like silk.
I've been lucky enough to try it, and I can attest So yes, the food is phenomenal.
Yeah. And
it feels like homemade food.
That's the idea.
Very fresh.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Which is great.
And then the tuna tostada is like amazing. It's an incredible dish. But yeah, you have to try the whole.
I gotta try the entire menu.
Exactly. And that's the style of eating that we love to do at Krus, and also Felix is more of a shared style of eating with your friends and kind of ordering multiple things.
That's nice. Now transferring to Krus Kitchen, tell me about the name.
Krus is the word for cookie jar in a northern Swedish dialect, and the idea there was that there's something here for everyone in the family to reach in for, whether you're a kid or whether you're a parent wanting a bottle of wine.
I love it. I love it. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call my cookie jar in my house
Krus. Yeah, exactly.
Krus.
That's perfect. Yeah, so Krus, we started with opening Krus Kitchen first. We started initially as a takeout and delivery concept, and we opened in November, and we were obviously conceptualizing everything during the heat of the pandemic, and so it was very wild to think, okay, we're full court press on doing this in a large space and having two concepts, and so we had a lot of hindsight or a lot of perspective. Sort of looking at hindsight, a lot of perspective on what it is that we would create and how we would, make certain decisions and take certain details.
Right.
But Krus Kitchen, we opened as a takeout and delivery concept with a little bit of seating on the sidewalk, just basically telling the story of, the wines that we were working with, the natural wines, and then just kind of little by little built a following, and people started loving the food and the wine and just wanting more, and so we have this amazing space, and the idea was to have always from the beginning a great market, a great wine store, and great bites.
I feel that this is something that was missing in Coconut Grove.
Thank you.
Yes, no, and truly, honestly, I grew up here in Coconut Grove. Still live right around the corner, and we were missing something like this.
Yeah.
Something that is homey.
Yeah, right.
It feels like you're eating at home.
Yeah.
Fresh. All organic. So I appreciate you for that. Yes.
Thank you so much.
What's next for you guys? What do you see yourself 5 years from now?
So number one focus is getting things perfect here, and then of course we want to expand new concepts, expand the brands. Sebastian's background as a chef, having worked in places like Osteria Francescana, 11 Madison Park, Faviken, and northern Sweden. I mean, these are Michelin restaurants, arguably some of the best restaurants in the world. We want the world to experience his cuisine in all forms. In our wine program, we want to grow it as well. We launched krusmarket.com, which is an e-commerce site. So we have essentially a national product right here, based in Coconut Grove, where we have a great wine club that's we're able to ship anywhere, and that's growing. So it's a big initiative of ours that we want to put the pedal down on, and just continuing to focus on the premise of our existence, of grass-fed culture, just doing things the right way. The demographic of people that are here, it all checked the boxes, and just made a ton of sense. And it's a real artery of Miami as well, main highway, and the amount of just traffic that's traveled in and out, work, and then obviously the development happening where you have these more boutique offices that are coming in that, the executives or the people running these companies, they want to live close, or they want to work close to where they live. And so that was a vision of the neighborhood development that I really loved and believed in. And so, now post-pandemic and not post-pandemic, but kind of looking to see what's happened to Coconut Grove, Miami, since having that perspective. I mean, it's crazy. Like everything that was happening or I was thinking would happen, or obviously those that were putting real dollars into Coconut Grove, thinking that would happen in Coconut Grove, accelerated essentially in 2 years. Right. And so that's wild to see. It's really wild to see.
It's crazy. I mean, Coconut Grove has been my favorite place in Miami, and especially now, with
100%.
How much it has grown for the best, in my opinion.
For sure.
Well, I'm selfishly happy that you are here in Coconut Grove.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for those that live in Brickell or
you gotta come down
the beach. Come down here, leave him a note, and then maybe if enough notes, you open up in their neighborhood. Right?
For sure. Yeah. We're I mean, for me, it's I love the city. I love Coconut Grove. I want to move here. I want to live in this neighborhood, and I mean, it's. I couldn't imagine having launched anywhere else. Truthfully, right. Yeah. I mean, my typical work days, I'm up early and home late. And working when I'm not laying down, and eyes are closed. Yeah. Right. So I mean, it's nonstop. I'm passionate about what I do.
But you have to be.
Yeah, of course.
It's nonstop, right?
Yeah,
So you have to have a strong passion for what you do.
Yeah, for sure. But it's important to have balance and those
right.
types of things. But in the beginning of launching a business and getting something established and rooted, you have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to put in the hours required, and that's just the way it is. Well, thank you to the Nicolas Group for having me and showcasing what we're doing here in the Grove. For more information on us, we're super active on Instagram at Krus Kitchen and also at Los Felix Miami. And then Los Felix just opened, and we're opening from Tuesday to Sunday. We do nightly dinner. 5 to 10, and then on Fridays and Saturdays we have an awesome vinyl DJ program, nice. All exclusively vinyl, where we have a beautiful analog sound system. So we have DJs that are playing from 8 to 12 Fridays and Saturdays, and then Sunday brunch. And then Krus Kitchen is open daily for lunch and dinner, and then awesome Sunday lunch fare. So.
All right. Well, you heard it from Josh himself. You have to come check it out.
Thank you so much.
Stay tuned.